You know what makes the world go round? Money. If you have a good enough job that pays you at a stable income, money is of no consequence. You can get as much money as possible as you need to survive. In some cases, people have to work the dead-end fast food jobs and they have to work for what they can to get by, while others are like CEOs or presidents of their own company and they're just rolling in dough. It's sad, that's just how the world works. Don't ask me about it. But regardless, if you are one streamer that constantly has to beg for money, constantly trying to make ends meet, while hiding a lot of shit behind the scenes because it's too personal to share, then you are in one big pickle, one dilemma if you are one Philip Burnell, or Darkside Phil, DSP Gaming, DSP Reacts, whatever Phil wants to call himself that day. You know, the man that says that DSP is just a character and it's not really him. But if you have to constantly live paycheck to paycheck, in his case, then life sucks, and he can't afford to take his wife out to eat at fancy restaurants. Let's see how that turns out. With that said, enjoy the show. And before the video starts, I would like to say that these clips are kindly made by a Mr. Memology 101. So thank you, Memology, for creating great content for us to react to.
You know, what's happened is, over the years, YouTube became commercialized, it became oversaturated, and it became a way for people to say, I want to get rich quick.
Actually, if you want to look at it that way, sure, it did become commercialized and oversaturated, but a lot of people at the time, they just wanted to get their videos out there. It's not much of, I want to get rich quick. It was much more of, I want to be noticed on the internet. Look at my cat. Look at my dog. Look at what stupid shit I can do on the internet. Later on, it became more of, hey, I think I can get rich off of this. But as everyone could tell you, even the most popular content creators could tell you the same thing. Don't rely on YouTube as a source of income. Have a real job. Do YouTube as a hobby. But in some cases, you have people that actually do get lucky. They get recognized by the top name people, and they are signed contracts, deals. They are signed everything, and they make dough now. That is what happened with Phil, because he was partnered with Machinima back in the day. He was making in a lot of money back in his quote-unquote prime, and now he's relying on people to give him money, like a panhandler on the side of the road, holding a cup or a sign that says, "We'll game for food."
So what ended up happening was everyone rushed in with budgets and production value, and this is for business now rather than passion. And when that happened, all of a sudden the entire site shifted its attitudes. So now, because you have everything available to you immediately, instant gratification for any kind of content you could possibly want on the internet, immediately the attitude went from, wow, thank you, gratefulness and enjoyment, to, wow, fuck you, complete criticism, slamming, nasty, bullying, trolling, and being a shithead to everybody, toxicity out the ass.
I disagree with all this entirely. It was never about the whole business production, the budgets. It was never about that. People could upload videos from their cell phone cameras. People could upload from a shitty camcorder, and they got by. Take, for example, AVGN. His quality back in the day, even though it's still funny today, his quality was bad, but as time went on, he improved. He got better quality stuff. Let's Players are the same way. Chugga Conroy, Nintendo Capri Sun. Even Cat Icarus had videos back in the day that were bad. Cringeworthy even. And as time went on, they found ways to improve themselves. But the whole thing about, oh, it has to have a budget, it has to have everything. When companies started making shows specifically for YouTube, I wouldn't say that it went downhill, but it became more of, hey, YouTube can now do the YouTube Premium, where they can put TV shows on there now. And also, the whole thing about trolling, bullying, that's been a thing, dude. Cyberbullying, it's still a thing. Even before YouTube was created, bullying was still a thing. Come on, boomer. Wake up.
It was like a complete culture shift. YouTube went from one of the most positive places on earth to one of the most negative, disgusting, drama-filled, toxic, black cloud shitfests.
No, Phil. Everywhere you go, does not matter where you are. You could be on Twitter and you could find a cesspool of degeneracy and very much depravity. YouTube is no different. But the only reason why he's bringing this up is because he's not making enough money because everyone else is taking his money. You could also say the same thing about side scrollers, how they interviewed him, they did the best they did, and it was glorious. It was the aftermath because he found out they made money and someone over-exaggerated saying they made $20,000 when they only made $2,000 from super chats and tips. But he fails to realize that it's the same as him. He needs a Patreon or patron, a Pay Me Tons account, as people make fun of him for it. But Phil, you are dumb. You were signed on to a company that had a lot of money, a lot of backing, and you were getting paid out the ass. Come on, has-been.
And you're a hypocrite, and you're an asshole, and you're a cocksucking shlomo. And
Thank you, Past Phil. That's exactly how we reacted to it, too.
that's what it is today. And that's kind of what's happening everywhere on the internet now. Is we used to all be so happy when something new was coming and something exciting. Now it's like, shit on it, crap on it, it's terrible, it's crap, criticize it until oblivion, bully the fuck out of everyone involved to the point where they bury themselves in the sand and are never heard from again.
So, bro, that's you. Thank you, Memology. Thank you. He does that too. Phil, everyone is entitled to their opinion. Doesn't matter if it's positive or fucking negative. Take, for example, The Last of Us Part 2. You have people that will support that game, and that's the hill they'll die on, while the good majority of it said, yeah, this is no good. This actually ruined the series. Everyone can have an opinion about someone, something, or a somehow. Don't know how the somehow comes into play, but everyone has an opinion. The internet, blog posts, all it is just opinionated statements. You can take it either at face value for what it's worth. It could cost you millions in like ego, social credit, if you will. Or you could just take it with the tiniest grain of salt. Phil, do you not understand how anything works? Oh, but Phil, keep in mind, if people are making fun of you, they're automatically the fucking devil. But if you make fun of other people or things that people enjoy, then that should be A-okay. You should get a free pass. Phil, it works both ways. It works the same. Your opinions that you have are shitty, and people will dunk you for it. There are times, granted, like 5-10%, that he said something that people can agree with. But at the same time, you fail to understand that opinions have a statute of limitations. You can't say certain things, but you're entitled to say them.
Now, where did that fucking mentality come from? Like, what the hell is going on with humanity?
It's always a thing. That mentality that you're claiming that it's a brand new experience, where did that come from? It's been a thing. Do a little bit of research, please. Oh, right. That's everyone else's job but him, supposedly.
That this is what how we're acting now, right?
You do the same thing, Phil. You do the same fucking thing.
I'm kind of missing some positive vibes lately because it seems like a lot of these game devs are sucking the fun out of gaming, trying to make everything play like Dark Souls. I mean,
I forgot he actually said that about certain games. He actually said that it takes a vibe out of everything. And I'm going to go to this point too. A game could take elements from other games and make it their own.
the biggest fan of everything that I do. I sit here and I criticize video games all the time.
Yeah, you do, but it's of the worst possible takes. You say that Resident Evil 4 remake is fucking dog shit. All because you ran out of ammo, ran out of grenades, and you just suck at the game. Granted, you're playing on hardcore mode, but didn't you play Resident Evil 4 and you knew how to play the game? You're shooting your TMP and all of a sudden you just walk right in front of Ashley Killer and you go, why is she walk in front of me? Phil, you are terrible at the game. Any game that people hate, you like. Any game that everyone loves, you hate. You are contrarian. That's the reason why people make fun of you. Because you have contrarian takes.
Correct?
And I love how he just looks at the camera like, yeah, see, I'm right. Yeah, I could do that. But that doesn't excuse anything that you're saying, Phil. I can say opinions about you. I can criticize games too. I can get flack for it too.
That's fine. You don't like a part of a game, you want to criticize it, you know, in the moment, you get passionate, you get excited about it, fine. Do you go after those game developers and fucking bully them all over the internet? When I was playing Wolong,
Okay, so you got upset at a game. Oh, but you're in the heat of the moment, and that's a free pass? No. You said it all the time for games, Phil. And why are you trying to make yourself look like the victim? Stop putting yourself in the victim's shoes. Take them off, throw them on the fucking electrical wire somewhere, and put on some big boy shoes.
Did I seek out the dev team of Wolong and harass them on social media and harass them as much as I could? Oh, you guys suck. You're nowhere near as good as Sekiro. You fucked everyone over. Your game is a piece of shit.
Phil, you have not done it to Wolong, but you said the game sucked. You have said multiple times in the past that you want people to off themselves because they made the game. You threatened violence on people. You said that people that made Final Fantasy 15 shouldn't have fucking jobs. You said all this shit. You claimed that you matured, that you don't do this shit anymore, but you still do it. You constantly do that. To this day, you still do this shit, but you changed because you got rid of the King of Hate moniker.
No.
Yes.
You don't do that. You don't go. That's the crazy, obsessive next step where people have to draw the line and be like, stop. They have to do something like this. They have to say,
stop it. Get some help.
Oh, Filbert. You need a fucking soundboard. Stop doing that shit. Stop it. Get some help. But Phil, you've done this before. And granted, there are times where people have done that. And I agree. It shouldn't happen. But you cannot stop it. But yet you want to stand on this soapbox and be like, stop doing it. Meanwhile, behind your back, it just has a target that says hypocrite on it.
oh my, fuck this game. 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 This game is a piece of shit. This is the worst Sonic game I've ever played. This is the worst, and I'm kidding, it's worse than Sonic Spinball. It's worse than Sonic 3D Blast. These game developers are fucking assholes. They designed the stage to piss you off. There's nothing fun about this.
Thank you, Memology. See my point? He's done it before. Hypocrite.
Because if we all had an MJ on our shoulder,
a Michael Jordan that says stop and get some help. No, Phil, you just look at it going, I'm craving a snack. I crave Big Macs.
At all times, to interject, I think that life would be a better place. Really, if we all just had our own personal MJ. But we don't. Instead, we just let ourselves get wrapped up in this internet culture of everything's fair game, destroy everything around you because you're anonymous and safe. It's ridiculous, man.
Pot meets kettle, Phil. You're the one that needs help. People have told you that you need to get help, but all you're doing is projecting hatred, saying that everyone else needs help. Everyone else needs to go to a psych ward and get help. You need to go to a therapist, Phil. And I agree, there's some times where I'm thinking, oh, the internet's not fair, but guess what, Phil? Life is not fair. You need to take that, tattoo that onto your fucking forehead like Joker with damage, and just say that life's not fair. And it isn't. You know why people won't get help when people are going to be the way they are? It's because you can't change people. Sure, you can believe that you can, but you really can't. It's all up to the person themselves to change. Not everyone else.
Just fucking calm the fuck down. Again, criticism is fair to a point. But there's a point when you pass the level of being a critic and you become a bully.
Phil, you have not taken criticism well at all. That's the problem. When people gave you criticism, you banned them. You thought that they were trolling you when they weren't. Someone called you out by saying you're breaking terms of service for putting bounties for Call of Duty and trying to make money for yourself. You banned that person. Everyone else trying to give you advice and criticism on how to make your setup better, like improving your camera, improving your background. No, you didn't do that. Instead, you yelled, whined, said that they're trolling you, whined that they're being bullies, harassing you, and you banned them. And you try to gaslight them into giving you money. You do this all the time. I wouldn't say that it happens on a day-to-day basis, but you do it so much. That and when people call you out on begging. I didn't beg. What are you fucking talking about? I didn't e-beg. 2 seconds later, oh, by the way, streams, I need support for streams. Tip me if you can, give me super chats, and just give me all of that.
We have to stop that step. Someone has to walk in at some point and say, stop it right at this step. This is the point you don't go past, all right?
Okay, Phil, then you stop. You stop saying that everything sucks. You stop saying that developers are assholes, that they need to lose their jobs. You need to stop first. Fix yourself, try fix others later. But knowing you, you'll never improve yourself. So that's why people dunk on you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I'm playing the game and I'm criticizing it. Okay, I don't like the voice acting. I'll say I don't like the voice acting. I wish the voice acting was different or there was a different voice actress. Done.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that, Phil. You make fun of the voice, though. If there's a game where someone has voice acting, you go out of your way. Oh, they're doing this voice acting. I can do it better. You do this too. You still make fun of it. Granted, yeah, there are games that have bad voice acting, but guess what? Some voice acting is part of the charm. Some of it's not.
You've made your point. People get it. Go talk about it on a forum if you want. Go post about it on social media. That's okay.
Didn't you just say that people need to stop and that everywhere that you go, it's a cesspool of negativity? But now you're saying it's okay to go on a forum or do something about it? The fuck? You contradict yourself way too much with these videos, dude.
But don't go fucking harass the person, you idiotic fucking boob. How
Boob, and then Cat comes in with the belt like, did you just say boob?
dumb can you be to think it's okay to harass people online for something you don't like?
Hi, me again. So, I know that this is in the middle of the video, and this is kind of a weird place to put it, but the reason why Phil was talking about harassment and all of that shit was because there's a voice actress that played Ada Wong in the Resident Evil 4 remake. There was a story that came out saying that she was harassed by fans, saying that her performance sucked, when in reality, it wasn't even all that bad. So, I can agree that with what Phil was talking about here is actually shitty, but coming from him, it's very hypocritical. Just saying. Alright, I'm going to go back to the video now.
But I know all about that, because I'm, sadly, the recipient of all of that kind of shit on a constant basis.
Ah, there we go. Painting himself a victim yet again. Phil, lose the victim mentality. Please just stop painting yourself as a victim. That's why people constantly make fun of you. You say that you're not painting yourself as a victim, and look what you're doing. You're painting yourself as a victim again. Strip yourself from that victim mentality and move on. Yeah, you're constantly harassed. Whoop-de-doo. You move on from it. You ignore it, but you don't. But here's the sad thing about that, Phil. The reason why you take the harassment is because of the shit that you've said and done. Is most of it justified? Some of it is. I'm going to say that for the record. But having your shit doxed and having your personal information out there, that's the only thing I do not condone. I condemn that. Honestly, you didn't deserve to have your personal information leaked out into the world, like your bank statements. But then you're like, my address got leaked. Phil, you posted, I wouldn't say you posted, but you showed your address in videos multiple times and you don't even realize it.
It's a horrendous living. Let me tell you. To be the ire of the internet for nothing. What did I even fucking do to deserve it? I sat here and played video games on my own channel.
You constantly harass people for their taste, constantly made fun of them for liking things. You made fun of people for how they looked. You said that people sucked at their jobs as a game developer and they should lose their jobs. You fucking kept calling Kojima names and people like Metal Gear Solid 3. You shit on games for even though it's your own fault. I mean, I can go on with this list of what you've done. And you say that you changed, but you still go back to your old roots of being an asshole, even though you're still an asshole. And funny thing is that you're like, oh, but I'm successful. I'm more successful than anyone else. Oh, I'm a victim.
I never even ventured out and did anything harmful to anyone, yet somehow I'm the devil.
Phil, you also dox other people's information. When someone gave you copyright strikes for your fucking artwork in the beginning, you posted their Twitter, said out loud, I have your IP and address, and you gloated about it. You've also said when you got swatted, again, I don't condone that either, you went out of your fucking way to say to everyone that this is how you don't plays, or the people that made them, that they almost got you killed, and that they should go to a mental hospital. You still do it, but now that you're saying that, oh, what did I do to deserve it? And when people tell you, you ignore it and ban people and say that they're fucking idiots.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about, you idiots?
There's proof of it, Phil. Oh, but those are detractor vids. Those are slander. Sure they are, Phil. Sure they are.
If I had a chance to travel anywhere in the world right now, what would be my destination? See, I don't even know. Because the way I see it, like, there's 3 places I'd really like to go. I'd like to go to California with my wife and maybe do Universal Studios and Disneyland. I think that would be an amazing vacation for both of us. You know, especially if we go to, like, Super Mario World in Universal and then go to, like, Disneyland and, you know, we really like Disney stuff. I would really like to go to Japan and just do some tourism in Japan, which would be really awesome. Cultural, you can eat different foods and all kinds of stuff. But then also we'd like to go to Europe and do like a European tour, go on those trains. You go to like major countries in Europe and just do like a day, maybe a day, 2 days in each major country in the major areas, and eat some food and do some fun stuff.
Okay, like, honestly, I have nothing bad to say about that. People can have dreams about that, and kudos for him having dreams of where he wants to go. But just listening to that, it has the defeatist tone. Gee, I don't know. It's like, I've given up, but I want to go here. Phil, get rid of that defeatist attitude. Be above the rest. Don't brag and not contradict. I'll try to the right word. Don't be condescending to people, and that way maybe you can have a better chance of being successful. But the problem is, though, is that you're a has-been trying to make yourself relevant. May 1st didn't help you either, and yet people still talk about it. That's the only thing that you know for relevancy is the shit that you've done in the past.
I don't even know if I could pick. But again, here's the thing. I literally don't think about that until you guys ask.
You don't think about it till you ask. Honestly, I'm just thinking that he just says that way. He just goes, yeah, I'm just going to answer questions as best I can. But I don't think about it. He does. He thinks about it way too much. So the next thing that he'll just do is just order DoorDash and just have it sent to him, like all sushi, ramen, anything that's like Asian. He wants to do that. He does that just to be like, I can live the dream too, guys.
I'm the kind of guy. I know some people say this sounds sad, okay?
The tone sounds sad, but some people can see through your bullshit at this point.
It sounds sad, but I'm the kind of guy that I don't have aspirations of greatness, nor do I like thinking about things that I'd like to do or aspire to do unless they're reasonable.
Okay, Phil, I'm not trying to sound like this to be an asshole. I'm actually just giving you advice. I'm going to give you criticism. That right there is a loser mentality. And people are going to be like, oh, you're calling him a loser. Hear me out. The reason why he's acting like that, to have the loser mentality, because losers don't have ambitions, goals, or a drive. Phil has no drive at all. He has no ambitions. He's lost passion for anything in his life, and he's relying on people to give him money. Just saying this, Phil, if you seeked help and actually got your drive back, you would be successful again and not be considered a has-been. But the sad thing is that you'll never change into that person, and you'll just be living the loser mentality. You can't just, but he's going to be like, that's my depression talking. Yeah, that is depression talking, Phil. Overcome it somehow. There's help. Just go seek it. Get a therapist. It helps. Put yourself on meds. It would help too. But then again, meds are from person to person, so it depends on you. Do whatever you want, just as long as you're not bringing people down with you.
Okay? Right now in my life, there is absolutely no reasonable expectation that I will be able to do anything like that. You know? I'm in a situation where I got to work full-time 6 days a week. I'm barely making ends meet some weeks. Some weeks are better. Sometimes they're better. Sometimes they're worse. It fluctuates. But I'm in a part-time in my life right now where none of this is possible. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's not possible because nobody's buying it because they've seen the real you. That interview with Side-Scrollers did not help your case at all. You're relying on new games like Resident Evil 4, Wolong. You relied on those games to give you some money, and it did not work. You relied on a lot of things to try to give yourself some income, but it's not working. So you're having this defeatist loser mentality. Just, I don't know. Honestly, I'm just going to let it keep playing.
I don't have any funds or money or anything that I can do stuff like that. So I prefer not to think about it, because when you think about it, you start thinking, oh man, I'm sad I can't do it. Just don't think about it then, right? And then maybe in the future things will get better, and then you can focus in on those positive things you want to do.
Phil, that's the problem though. You can't just push that to the side. Things like that happen. Life happens. There are times that I went by trying to figure out what I can do to pay my bills. It happens. What are you willing to sacrifice to make ends meet? You've had it, and I will agree, it sucks. But if you can find a way to actually make yourself better and move on with your life and become financially stable, it will do you good. Get a part-time job. Do something that, like, you can even get a part-time job. Like I said, just find a job that will give you a little bit extra money. Your wife can work and make a little bit more extra money. She could try, if she doesn't have that loser mentality, to try to get a job, to try to move up in her job or find a better job. And maybe you'll be financially stable and you can actually get rid of all the debt that you had, supposedly. Because it happens. It sucks. But that's the thing, though. If you have that loser mentality, you're never going to get anywhere with life. No signs of greatness. And you'll just be ever living in the past glories. And you're thinking that you'll get that back, and it's never going to happen.
But until they're viable, why even focus on them? Aren't you just setting yourself up for disappointment? Like, I never thought something like this with geography and tourism would be as fun as it's been. Especially because, personally, I'm terrible at geography. And I haven't done a lot of tourism because I don't have money to really do it. I never had money to do it. And quite frankly, to be very honest with all of you guys, with the way my life's going, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to. You know, a lot of people ask me, oh, Phil, would you like to go to Europe? Would you like to go to Japan? Would you like to go to these places with your wife? I'm like, yeah, I'd like to, but I don't think I'm ever going to be able to. Like, I'm just being real. You know, I'm not trying to be a downer or nothing, even though it's kind of sad to think about it. Like, I think I'm pretty much going to be here forever with the way things are going. So it is what it is. I really enjoyed going all around the world with you guys over the last couple of months and experiencing, you know, these things firsthand, because, you know, most of us probably never will, right? Most of us will never have that opportunity to be these places and see these things.
Yeah, and another reason why people are giving him shit is because he's using this for sympathy bucks, which, granted, it is a scummy thing to do. But back to his question of, like, if it will lead you to disappointment, no. You can find ways around it. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Right now, what you're going through is what people like to call the hell phase, where nothing is going right and you're constantly tormented. But guess what? There's a light at the end of that tunnel, Phil. There's a light at the end of that hell. You just need someone to pull you out of it. But, again, you're using this for sympathy bucks, which could be scummy. So, whatever perspective people are seeing you for it, who knows? I'm not everybody else. I'm just going by what I'm seeing, and that makes me very skeptical about you.
If you just focus, I want to do it. Yeah, but you can't do it. It's not within your means.
Phil, everyone can have the I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. You want to know why? Bucket lists. Those exist. They want to do this before they die. They want to do this before they lose that opportunity. People can still have those dreams, Phil. Don't... I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound like Shia LaBeouf here. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it.
So why are you wasting your time even thinking about it? Be more realistic and enjoy the things you can do around you every day.
That's the thing, though, about it, Phil. If you have a realist mentality, it can make you depressed. Everyone else can do it but you, and it makes you depressed. That's why you're acting like this. As I mentioned before, loser mentality. No drive, no ambitions, no passions. It sucks, but you need to overcome that somehow.
I enjoy every moment that I get to spend with my wife and my pet Jasper, and you know, we have a
I'm sorry, I thought that was your son.
Great life together, and that's what I focus on enjoying in life, you know. And one day do I want to do better? Of course I want better for us, and of course I want to do better things with them. But why am I going to waste time being the person thinking about the big trip coming, the big this, the big... It's not coming. You know what I'm saying?
Phil, like you already said, make the most of it. But then again, Why are you just doing that? You're making people depressed at that point. But then people have told you, hey, don't stream a lot. Oh, but I need to because I need money. Phil, just make sacrifices. Take risks for the bigger reward.
Can you imagine if 4 or 5 years ago I was thinking about that shit and nothing ever happened, how disappointed and depressed I would be? You know?
Phil, bet 4 or 5 years ago you were making some decent money and you could do them. But you pissed it away. And you used the depression bit as a way to make money. That is also scummy.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to focus on the positive things in your life that you have, not the things that you want that you can't realistically have, because then if that's the case, you'll be one of those people who's never satisfied with anything.
Phil, you're never satisfied with anything. Any new game that you play, you are not satisfied because you're not making that dough that you thought you were going to make. Same thing can be said about anything that you try. You try to make the Reacts channel. It's not helping you. That Reacts channel is bringing you down. Trying to relive your past delusion, your past glory, the delusions of grandeur, as a lot of people would like to say that you have, is not helping you. Drop the things that are holding you down and try to find ways to succeed. But you can't, though, because there are times that you are bored of games. It's clear as day that video games is losing its charm on you, and you're not interested in them anymore. The only reason why you will play a game is because, oh, it'll bring in the money. It'll bring in the big bucks. Stop thinking like that. Just play games that you enjoy and people will come. Why do you think people like Proton John is successful? He'll play old games that people ask for. He'll play them. Sure, he won't enjoy some of them, but he'll do it for his fans. Do what your fans want, and maybe more will come. But he won't because everyone else is wrong but him.
Who literally can't find a moment of, like, peace. Because all you ever want is the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. It never ends, right?
Of course it never ends because it keeps going. It's a vicious cycle. Why think that everyone else, they want the next big thing? Some people don't want the next thing right away. They wait. They budget themselves. They wait till they're actually stable enough to actually get the next thing or to do the next big thing. It's all in the matter of the person that's trying to make themselves better. But in this case, Phil never practices what he preaches.
Say things like this, because Rodney just said something in the chat. Well, why don't you save up for the vacation? Because I can't save. Literally every dollar I make is accounted for somewhere else.
Yeah, for bills, and you use that as an excuse. The reason why you bring it up is for the sake of convenience.
When I get paid by YouTube, that money within 1 week is out the door paying bills. All over the place. It's gone.
No, not necessarily. The only problem is that you spend all your money on quote-unquote bills, and then you spend the rest of it on WWE champions, which that has been proven. Because the Side Scrollers podcast brought that up, and you refused to share it.
You know, same thing. All the tips and stuff that I make, that goes to my weekly stuff of, you know, errands, you know, grocery shopping, some pet supplies, all those things. It's out the door.
Also, the haircut that you got, the DoorDash that you get, the gin that you get, the WWE Champions pulls that you get. Phil, anytime you get money, it burns a hole in your pocket. Just learn to budget.
You know what I mean? It's not like, and any money that I have saved up, you have to understand I'm on payment plans to multiple people and businesses.
And whose fault is that, Phil? It's not your detractor's fault. It's not John Rambo. It's not Keemstar's. It's not the Side Scrollers podcast's fault. It's your fault because you don't know how to financially stable yourself.
Because I can't afford. So any money that I make, there's no saving. The money I make has to go to the things I already owe.
Also, your wife has a job. Why doesn't she contribute with bills? No, instead she's going to go buy the next console or video game for herself.
That's the life situation I'm in. This is not, Phil sits down, makes money, and has a giant pile of money he just holds. And then he can just divvy it out to fun stuff. It's already gone.
Yeah, you used to have that mentality, Phil. You used to have that when you were with Machinima. You used to have that grandeur, that days of glory. You used to have that money. And I know I'm sounding like a broken record with it, but you don't know how to save. Instead, you always blow it on the next thing that you want. Put the things that you want to the side and focus on the big picture, which is save the money, work for something better, work on paying off all your debt at once, and then maybe you could do that thing or the things that you want. Stop frivolously spending your money. That's the big picture, and that's the fine point with it.
Now I can't pay my credit cards. So now all my credit cards go into default. My credit's completely ruined. They cancel all my credit cards. Now I can't pay for anything because I have no credit anymore, and I have no money to pay for it. Then what's the next thing I can't pay? You see what I mean? It's going to become a cascading mess of shit.
Yeah, that was another thing too. You kept getting 13, 14 credit cards, and people were like, yeah, that's the reason why you don't have money, Phil. It's because you can't do it, and that's why you went bankrupt. And now what's worse is you want to put yourself back into that debt again and hoping that another bankruptcy could save you when it will not. It'll dig you into a bigger financial hole.
It's my life. That's been my life for many, many, many years. And it will likely be my life for many years to come until things turn around and get better. There's several different ways that things can get better. But the thing is, there's no guarantee that any of those will ever happen.
Agreed. Everything out there that you are wanting, there's no guarantee that you can make yourself financially stable, but you want to know what you can do is work on yourself. That way you can become financially stable. Fix yourself and then worry about the rest later.
So all I can do is kind of stick the course, weigh it out, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I can do. And it sucks. And I don't like talking about it, but people ask for it. You say, oh, here's an easy solution. There's no easy solutions. In life, there are no easy solutions for these problems.
Agree, but disagree at the same time. Sure, there are things out there that are hard to figure out right away, but there are some easy steps that you can take to improve your life, which is saving money. That is an easy thing, but you refuse to do so because you're saying that you live paycheck to paycheck. I used to be in that situation, Phil. It sucks. Until I got a job that's better, and it got me into a good financial point that I can actually stop living that paycheck to paycheck, and I can have some money to blow for myself. Just learn to be financially stable. Find something that can get you extra money. Like I said, part-time job for you. Work on streams as your side gig, and have your wife contribute to the bills so that in your case, you won't have to struggle with it.
And people think they're right. They oversimplify everything. There's, no, it's not. I'm sorry because now we're talking about a heavy subject and everything, which wasn't my intention. But people ask a question, and one question leads to another, and then you get into these talks of these situations, and that's my life, man.
Yeah, and here comes the sad voice, hoping that people can give me money, because you've done that before, Phil. I need to save the house. People gave you money. I need to fix my bathroom. People gave you money, and then lo and behold. You ask for money the very next day, people ask questions, you ban them, and then the vicious cycle repeats itself.
You could really do about it. When every dollar is accounted for. For example, let's say I was putting money aside, and let's say after several months I have thousands of dollars saved up. Well, guess what? That should have went to something that didn't get paid.
Like what? The condo due? All that? If you would have been smart enough to sell your condo, doesn't matter how much you would get from it, and you just sold it right then and fucking there, you wouldn't be in the financial straits that you are. Or getting rid of your tax guy when you moved to Connecticut to Washington. You could have done all those things, but you were stupid and didn't listen and didn't act on it. So all of that is your fault. No one else's.
You see what I'm saying? That's the situation I live. So, it's life. That's my life. Living paycheck to paycheck and having my bank account overdrawn all the time sucks.
Yeah, he said that. And honestly, yeah, I agree that it does suck past Phil. But it's still your fault that you're not financially stable because you made poor decisions with your life and that you try to find everyone else to be accountable for your fuck-ups. Honestly, after that, I feel like I need to go lay down because honestly, he wants to paint himself more as a victim, and this whole video kind of proves that he's never going to get rid of that victim mentality, and he's going to paint himself as a loser in his head. But the way that he's saying everything, that I can't do this, I can't do that, I have no drives, I have no aspirations of greatness, that is why he will forever be a loser and a lolcow, just because he'll say all this and people will talk about him for it. Is this a shitty topic to talk about? That depends on who is watching this and whoever commentates over it. The bottom line of this video is that he needs to be more financially stable and to find a way so that he can pay off everything or have money saved up and have his wife contribute. That he needs to put his foot down to his wife and say, hey, we need to get these bills paid. You need to help out. We're married after all. Because that right there, if he has to do everything and she does nothing, it's a toxic relationship. And I know this is going to be bad talking about his wife, but once you're married, everything becomes the partner's responsibility as well. If Phil is going to paint himself as a victim and as a loser forever, then that's how he's going to be. And that's the forever curse of DSP. Being a loser with no drives and ambitions to find a way to be successful. But yet his delusion of grandeur will kick in and just say, I'm more successful than everyone else, but by the way, give me money so I can actually afford to live. Phil, piece of advice, if you stop talking about money and just do the things that you enjoy, video games and all that, then maybe all that shit and all that depressing shit that goes on in your head can go away slowly but surely. But if you don't get rid of that and you keep talking about your financials, people are still going to make fun of you for it. And that truly is a sad life to live.